I want to bring in David Nicholas. He's the president of Nicholas Wealth Management. And David, you say, I believe, I read your stuff, you say that, look, if we don't get a China deal, if there's no deal, the market comes down 15, maybe 20%. Make your case.
Stuart, thanks for having me. You know, if we don't get a deal, it was great to hear how positive Larry Kudlow was on this deal. But, Stuart, if we don't get a deal, this could be a nasty fall to the bottom. If you look at the December 24th lows, we're about 18% off those lows. I'm very optimistic about a deal, but the issue right now is that the market has priced in so much that we're going to get an effective deal done, that if we don't, this is what investors have to be careful of. Because as quickly as we saw markets rise over the last 2 months, we could see just a fall that I think is more than what most investors realize. I think 20% drop from here if we don't get a deal done. So something has to get done, and it has to be a deal that investors think is going to fix the problems that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's very hard to predict. I mean, it's very hard to say, after what we heard from Larry Kudlow, oh, it's not going to be a deal at all. You can't really say that,
Sure.
so you can't predict this. Difficult environment, though, because if there is no deal, I think you're quite right, down we go. Let me talk to you about stock buybacks. I've got 3 senators who are pushing a curb on stock buybacks. They are Senators Marco Rubio, Chuck Schumer, and Bernie Sanders. They say restrict these stock buybacks. What do you say to that?
You know, Stuart, stock buybacks are a sign of a healthy economy. It's not a sign that businesses are wanting to punish workers, right? So the point of a business, provide value to shareholders, provide value to its customers. The point of a business is not to pay wages. So competitive wages are a byproduct of a profitable company. So when it comes to buybacks, right, this is all about the efficient deployment of capital. And what just ticks me off, Stuart, is that these politicians in Washington, many of which have never created a job in their life, they think they know better than some of the smartest minds in business do when it comes to deploying capital. So this is why I'm actually just shocked that Senator Rubio, that I have the utmost respect and admiration for, would join into this narrative that somehow by businesses buying back their stock, that they shouldn't be doing that, but they have some moral obligation to Americans to increase wages or invest in infrastructure and R&D. It's a narrative that I think we've seen before, and I don't think that narrative should be at the foreplace. And that's why I just think conservatives need to...
I absolutely agree with it, because a company which earns money, makes profit, creates capital, I think it should be allowed to decide what it does with that capital. It doesn't have to spend it immediately. That's ridiculous. You should be able to plan your future use of capital. And if that means putting the money into your own stock so that you can decide in the future how to use it, that's fine with me. But I'd put it to you, David, there's every chance that a stock buyback curb could be put in place.
Yeah, I think the chances are very real. And here's another unintended consequence of government, right? I think socialist Bernie Sanders thinks, well, if stock buybacks are illegal, then corporations are going to magically start paying higher wages. But you know what happens? And here's the unintended consequences. Instead of investing or paying wages, you know what corporations more than likely will do? They'll sit on cash.
Yes.
So what that effectively does is it stops the effective deployment of capital.
You're right.
And I just think it's a dangerous thing. We need to not get out of this narrative. Now, if I can give Senator Rubio just one piece of credit, he isn't saying that we shouldn't allow stock buybacks. He's just trying to change the incentives for taxation. Okay. But I think even that is a little bit misguided, if I can say respectfully, just because for most Americans, if a couple makes under $73,000 a year in retirement, they don't pay any tax on qualified dividends or capital gains. So the tax law right now is not geared towards dividends over buybacks. So, Stuart, I don't know. I see this. I don't like it. I think we got to get out of this narrative. Companies, like you said, Stuart, corporations know what's best and how to deploy their capital. Let's let them do it. This is the free market. It works just fine.
Yeah, for such a young man, you make so much sense. David Nicholas, yeah, that was good stuff. Thank you very much indeed, sir. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for having me, Stuart.